We recently went on a Royal Caribbean cruise, and as much as we really did have a good time, I'll be honest with you, there were some things that we really didn't like. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, I hate to say that there were some things that I didn't like on a cruise because let's face it, I know that these are first world problems. I am very lucky to have gone on a cruise. You are very lucky if you're going on a cruise. But of course, we all do want to have the very best experience. And I did want to share these things with you in good part just because I kind of want you to be a little bit prepared. There were a couple of things that surprised me and that I could have been a little bit more prepared had I known. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention, well, actually 3 things. First of all, I do have some things that I really liked about this cruise. I will leave those at the end. Secondly, please let me know your own experiences. These are my opinions only, and you may completely disagree with me, and these things may not bother you at all. And before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give the video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. So the first thing that I didn't really like so much, especially that you have to do this as soon as you pretty much board your cruise on Royal Caribbean's larger ships, so basically those Oasis class ships, is you have to book your shows on your cruise planner. And basically what you need to do, because you can't book them in advance anymore, is you need to do them on the app as soon as you kind of board the cruise. So I did find, in a way, it takes away from some of the relaxation that you normally feel on embarkation day when you're going on your phone during lunch and you're trying to make sure that you've booked the shows for everybody. So for me, I mean, it's not a huge annoyance. It definitely doesn't impact the entire cruise. But I do really, I guess I realize, and this is just maybe something for myself, that I realize I probably like the ease of maybe a little bit of a smaller ship, just for that aspect that it is a little bit more relaxing. That said, I understand why Royal Caribbean on these larger ships, why they do this in terms of crowd control. Absolutely, it makes a lot of sense. And to their credit, despite the fact that we were on Oasis this season, it was probably close to 80% full in terms of capacity on the most part, other than one place I will tell you about soon. But on the most part, we didn't really feel the crowds. So they definitely do an amazing job. But that was something that I realized I didn't really like. And I really do hope that Royal Caribbean gets back to allowing people to pre-book their main shows before they get on to the cruise ship. Number 2, and I have to say there is no particular order to this, but this one I do think it is really important that you're aware of. And basically it is that there is no shampoo and conditioner in the bathroom. Now, it might not seem like a big deal, and I have to say, for me, I bring my own shampoo and my own conditioner, but basically what Royal Caribbean has in their showers is a combo of shampoo and body wash. So, I mean, great, I guess, if maybe you're a teenage boy, I don't know. Like, to me, this is just not sufficient in terms of the toiletries. For a cruise, please let me know if you're the same and if you like a little bit more there. But I just even found, like, even in terms of a soap, I even found that, like, I thought, should I have brought my own soap on a cruise? I don't normally bring my own soap, but I didn't really like this combination of body wash, shampoo, and I think it was even conditioner, 3-in-1. I just didn't quite get it. Number 3, the continuous announcements over the intercom on the cruise ship. Now, a lot of the time, I know we do get this on cruise ships, and I think especially on larger cruise ships, you do get this a little bit more, but it is so hard to hear the announcements, especially if you're in your cabin. It is so muffled, but even when you're on the pool deck, you would hear the announcements, and it's just very muffled, very difficult to hear. I wish they could kind of fix that a little bit, but I will say something that did really surprise me. I just don't think they have a choice right now about it, but it did surprise me. It has to do with the e-muster on embarkation day. Just about the entire day on embarkation day after lunch were continuous reminders to do the e-muster. And to the point that it was probably every half an hour or so that we'd hear the announcements by the cruise director. I think they were pre-recorded and continuously reminding people that there were maybe 300 people who hadn't done their e-muster yet, 100 people who hadn't done their e-muster yet. And I did really find, I almost thought It was almost better to do muster drill the way it was before, because otherwise it just felt like these interruptions during the day. Now, please let me know if you've experienced this before. I've heard of this as well on some Carnival cruises. Maybe this is just an adjustment that cruise ships and cruise lines have right now. I wouldn't necessarily fault Royal Caribbean for it, but it did kind of annoy me, I have to say. Please let me know your own thoughts on this. Number 4, the towel check-in and check-out station. Now, if you're like me and you're coming from some other cruise lines, whether it's, Princess or Celebrity or Holland America maybe, if you do go on a Royal Caribbean ship, this is just something that you need to know. And I think some of the other major cruise lines have it as well, but I just don't like it. In any case, it is having to check out towels and then to have to check them back in. So if you don't check your towel back in, you are charged $25 per towel. I understand the reasoning for it, but I do really find it's another aspect of your cruise where you kind of have to line up, and I just don't love the lining up. And so for me, that is something that kind of annoys me a little bit. The limited hours at some of the casual restaurants and the buffet. Now, overall, I have to say Royal Caribbean does an amazing job at having really many casual restaurants open. Really, there are a lot of choices, so there's never a time that we were starving, never a time that you will be starving. But we did find, especially because I think we were on the Oasis of the Seas and it really is such a big ship, we did really find that we had to often take a look at the planner to see what venue was open at a certain time to be able to eat. So for instance, even the buffet, it was open, let's say for breakfast hours for certain hours, for lunch hours for certain hours, and then it closed during different parts of the day. And also in the evening time, it was sort of limited in terms of the hours. So if you're somebody who is used to a cruise line, maybe even like Carnival, that really has larger opening hours for the buffet, you might find this a little bit surprising or even a little bit disappointing. Now, in our case, some of the places that we really like to eat were at like Park Cafe, and I like to just even get a coffee and some fruit. And what we realized was, well, basically there were like breakfast hours. So it closed at 10:30, and then I think it opened up again. It might have been around 12 o'clock or so, but it had these sort of opening and closing hours, and then it wasn't open in the evening. So you always had to sort of look around to see which venue was open in which place. And in particular, I would say perhaps this might be because of the pandemic. And if it is, I completely cut them some slack. They dress code on Royal Caribbean. Now, firstly, I have to say I have no problem with the dress code on Royal Caribbean's website or even what other people choose to wear. However, I was surprised, I think, the way the dress code is on the website, and at the same time, the way there is absolutely no enforcement in any way from what I saw in the main dining room. And the only reason that I mention this is because I know a lot of people do plan their outfits, and if they knew other people were not dressing up for formal night, perhaps they would choose differently. So I'll be completely honest, and I will share a story in just a moment, but when we were on Oasis of the Seas, the dress code, it may as well have been absolutely non-existent. Not really a problem for me, but I am going to screenshot the actual dress code on Royal Caribbean's website. They do really suggest like tuxedos and evening gowns and suits for formal night, and that's definitely in practice not the case. And again, I don't really have a problem with it, but there are shorts, there are people that are really dressing casually, and it's absolutely fine if that's what people want to wear, but I really would prefer it to be then more like than on Norwegian Cruise Line, where they just say it's freestyle. Everybody could wear what they want and there is no enforcement. So to be perfectly honest, what we did, we weren't dressed fancy because we knew that Royal Caribbean was a little bit less formal, even if they said they had a formal night, than some of the other cruise lines that we had sailed on. So we did dress a little bit less fancy for our first formal night, but still what I would consider a little bit dressed up. But when it did come to the second formal night, we just felt like things were just so much more casual that I did dress much more casually. I still think nicely, the way I would dress perhaps for a restaurant. But we definitely just kind of didn't feel compelled to dress up for the second formal night. So I do have to wonder about Royal Caribbean and the dress codes. Please let me know your thoughts. Should Royal Caribbean enforce the dress codes, or should they simply adapt what they're actually writing on their website so that people are actually aware that they could kind of wear what they want, or maybe just even dress your best, that kind of thing? Please let me know down below. But I have to say, it kind of did annoy me just a little bit. Now, I have one more thing that I didn't really like, but then I am going to share with you 3 things that we absolutely loved that were great on Royal Caribbean. So the last thing that we didn't really like, and this is particularly, I think, perhaps on Oasis of the Seas, I don't know if any other cruise ships have this, but the storage space in the cabin on Oasis of the Seas, I think, I don't know if it may have been the worst cabin that we've ever been in, just in terms of storage space. Otherwise, it really was very good, including the fact that the balcony was amazing. But just take a look. I'm going to actually screenshot these night tables. There's nothing you can do with these night tables. So I do really wish that Royal Caribbean, when they had updated the Oasis of the Seas, which is absolutely gorgeous, I wish they would have updated the cabins to have some proper maybe night tables so that you could put something in them, as well as maybe make a few other changes in the cabin. I definitely needed my cruise cabin hacks for this one. Now, if you've watched my videos before, you know I'm a very positive person, and I really did enjoy my cruise, and I want you to enjoy your Royal Caribbean cruise as well. So I'm going to share with you some things that Royal Caribbean does very well that we absolutely loved. So the first thing is the fact that you could never, ever, ever be bored on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship. There were ample activities to do, in particular on an Oasis class ship. Just amazing. But beyond just the activities and the fact that the majority of them are basically without charge, pretty amazing. So such a good value. But also was just the energy on board. People were having a good time. I think that might have been my favorite part of this cruise, was it oozed happiness. Between the crew and the other passengers, the energy on board, I really loved that. And despite all of the other things that I mentioned in this video, I absolutely loved that. And for that alone, I would sail on Royal Caribbean 100 times over. Now, the other thing that I really loved, and I think that Royal Caribbean does a great job at it, is actually the crowd control. So as much as I said, one of the things that kind of annoys me is having to reserve the shows, I do really think that because you reserve shows, you don't have those crowds getting into the theaters and into the lounges and that kind of thing. So it does really kind of make it a pleasure when you are going to the shows. So I think they do that really well. And the variety of food. And despite the fact that honestly, when we're on an Oasis class ship, there are thousands of people to feed. They do a phenomenal job. So some of the casual restaurants, El Loco Fresh, amazing, one of the best restaurants that I've ever eaten in, and the fact that it's actually included, just incredible. Park Cafe is amazing. The extra fee restaurants, Chops, we went to, phenomenal, among the top 2 restaurants that I've ever eaten at on a cruise, really great. And even the main dining room, despite the fact that I kind of heard not so great things about the main dining room, honestly, on the most part, our meals were very, very good. Now, if you want to hear more great things about Royal Caribbean and the things that we genuinely loved, along with some tips that are going to help you out on your Royal Caribbean cruise, please watch this video next. It is all about the 10 things that we absolutely loved about Oasis of the Seas, along with tips that you can use. Now, please let me know in the comments below, and take everything that I said with a grain of salt, but please let me know if you agree or disagree on some of the things that I did mention. And as well, please let me know the things that maybe you don't like so much if you've sailed on Royal Caribbean before, as well as the things that you loved. I would love to read that down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I would love to have you here within the Life While Cruise community. Bye for now, and happy cruising.